Good morning, everybody. It is Thursday, April 13th, 2023. It is 4:15 in the morning. Okay, this is chapter 7. I forgot why I started in chapter 7. Paul, a man of grace and grit. I have no idea what part this is because I didn't write it down. Okay. But I'm just going to start where the bookmark was. It sounds a little too idealistic, doesn't it? We'd rather be skeptical than submissive. Like the old saint who once prayed, Lord, when you cease to strew my path with trials and thorns. Thorn in my side, thorn in my side. Okay. To which the suffering soul replied, Lord, perhaps that's why you have so few of them. I need to underscore a foundational fact. God's goal is not to make sure you're happy. No matter how hard it is for you to believe this, it's time to do so. Life is not about your being comfortable and happy and successful and pain-free. It is about becoming the man or woman God has called you to be. Unfortunately, we will rarely hear that message proclaimed today. All the more reason for me to say it again. Life is not about you, it's about God. Not long ago, following a sermon, I preached at the Stonebriar Community Church on Saul's suffering. A gentleman walked up to the front of the worship center and said to me, You know, Chuck, I've been listening very carefully to this series on Paul. Even though he is the main character, it really isn't about Paul, is it? The story is really about God. Oh, that's what they said in the video about the movie Paul. I gave him a big hug and whispered in his ear, You got it, now go with it. He grasped the message of the thorn. So did Saul. He not only made the connection, he lived it in his attitude. How can I say that with assurance? Because of Saul's response, most gladly, therefore, I will rather boast about my weaknesses, that the power of Christ may dwell in me. Therefore, I am well content with weaknesses, with insults, and with distresses, with persecutions, with difficulties, for Christ's sake. For when I am weak, then I am strong. 2 Corinthians chapter 12, 9, and 10. That's it. He got it too, and he went with it for the rest of his days. I quit focusing on the handicap and began appreciating the gift. It was a case of Christ's strength moving in on my weakness. Now I take limitations in stride, and with good cheer, these limitations that cut me down to size, I just let Christ take over. And so, the weaker I get, the stronger I become. Excerpted from the Message. 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 9 and 10. When you and I boast of our strengths, we get the credit, and we keep going under our own head of steam. But when we boast in what he is doing in the midst of our brokenness, inability, and inadequacy, Christ comes to the front. His strength comes to our rescue. Don't miss that point. The very things we dread and run from in our lives are precisely what brought contentment to Saul. Look at the list. I am content when I lose. I am content when I am weak. I am content with insults. I am content when I'm slandered. I am content in distresses. I am content with persecutions. I am content with difficulties and pressures that are so tight I can hardly turn around. Why? Because when I am weak, then I am strong. Knowing that brought the apostle ablaze with the flaming oracles of heaven to his knees. What a way to live your life, content in everything, knowing the divine strength comes when human weakness is evident. That's what gave the man of grace true grit. It will do the same for us. Okay, so that's all for that part. I have no idea. This is chapter 7, but I didn't write down what part this was. So that's all. Thank you for watching.